Hello and welcome back to the Academy of the Magical Art. This is The Sacred Magic of the Qabbalah by Manly P. Hall, and this video is on the mystery of the number 2. The number 2 is symbolic of the dual system of human thought, which views everything either from the standpoint of opposites or comparison. Things are judged in their relation to other things, but seldom, if ever, weighed and measured according to their own intrinsic merits. The mystic alone realizes that everything in nature is a law unto itself and can be honestly evaluated when judged by its own standards alone. The one outpouring, reflecting itself in matter, is called the 2. This is the first negative number, for when divided it leaves no remainder. All even numbers are called negative and feminine and are ruled by the moon. All odd numbers are called positive, because an odd number cannot be divided without leaving the first cause, or 1, in the center. They are therefore under the dominion of the first vibrant power, the sun. As 1 is called the number of the Father, so 2 is called the number of the earth. Cosmic root substance, or the base of form. This is the negative pole of life, called by the ancients the Divine Mother, in contrast to vitalizing ray, which carries the title of Great Father. People who are mastered by bodies, which are the expressions of matter on the various planes of nature, are referred to as negative. They may be courageous, violent, and apparently very positive, but in all things, where the body rules the life, they are negative. Hence, people who are ruled by appetites and passions, who are swayed by emotion and torn by things of the lower worlds, are said to be negative types, while those who rule their bodies in wisdom and integrity are called positive. All true mystics and occultists are positive. When the vitalizing centers in the body are nourished by the spinal fires descending through the black serpent wound round the famous staff of Hermes, man is said to be negative. Those who are raising these powers and unfolding the cerebral spinal nervous system are said to be positive, for they are nourished by the ascending white serpent of wisdom raised by Moses in the wilderness. As long as man is ruled by opposites, one of which is ever combating the other, he is incapable of true spiritual growth. He must first unify these two opposing factors, which, like two thieves, steal his powers of concentration. 2 is said to be the number of the unconscious, because the single spiritual power is broken or its flow is impeded. It is also referred to as the number of contention, because the two extremes of nature are always seeking mastery one over the other. Too often, man fails to realize that dominion on the part of either means destruction of both. For in slaying its opposite, it slays itself. Since one pole cannot manifest without the other, equilibrium is consequently the point of greatest efficiency in nature. When the center of consciousness is thrown out of its true position, it is rendered negative and impotent. Thousands of occult students are negative and consequently incapable of growth because they have allowed themselves to be led out of their own true center of consciousness. Some people wander millions of miles, figuratively speaking, from their own centers of being, and go off on endless tangents by following other people's advice. Both offender and offended lose sight of one of occultism's most important laws, namely the necessity of unifying all opposites and synthesizing all philosophies. Man's chief trouble is that when he weighs anything, he also includes the human equation in one end or the other of the scale. Instead of weighing conditions as they actually are and remaining, he should, at the point of equilibrium, his likes and dislikes distort his judgment, which therefore becomes null and void. Peace can never result from the rulership of extremes. For as the pendulum swings in one direction, so it will swing back and react in the opposite direction. An excellent example of this is to be found in the political conditions of our day. For many hundreds of years, in fact, thousands, the world has been ruled by patriarchy. Now the general trend is towards matriarchy. An Amazonian form of government may appear at almost any moment. Many people believe this is to be the true solution of the problem of life. The occult student, however, with his broader vision, realizes that this is merely shifting the weight of rulership from one end of the scale to the other, and consequently can never bring about the desired effect, namely, balance. The superiority of either extreme destroys the harmony of the divine plan. Only when these extremes are blended, at least to the state of constructive condition, will religion, philosophy, or politics ever find an answer to the eternal problems. Since earliest history, first one end has been up, then the other, and humanity must suffer from this condition until it learns that the greatest good is wrought when all things are brought together. The number 2 is symbolic of discrimination. For in the number of man's free will, which, at this stage of his growth, is not free but merely the power of choice, through experience with opposites in nature, man is developing the power of discrimination, and by its application will remove much of its present suffering. Those who would learn the mystery of the number 2 must learn how to use the power of thought to blend the opposites in nature. For the mind is uniting between God and man. Without thought, man is an animal carried away by the sway of emotions. Those who are unable to discriminate between what is better and what is best maintain perfect balance as they walk between the pillars of opposites. Those who would learn the mystery of the number 2 must learn how to use the power of thought to blend opposites in nature. For the mind is the uniting link between God and man. Without thought, man is an animal carried away by the sway of emotions. Those who are unable to discriminate between what is better and what is best maintain perfect balance, and they walk between the pillars of opposites, are not thinkers in the highest sense of the word. Men will learn how to choose in but one way, through knowledge of 2 extremes. Swinging like a pendulum, the ego alternates both viewpoints and body from one life to another. Through this knowledge of opposites, it gains the power of discrimination and finally learns how to blend differences that weaken into unities that strengthen. Safe and intelligent judgment on any question depends upon knowledge of the opposite phase of the thing discussed. Judgment of an individual does not depend solely upon his good points or upon his bad points, but upon a blending of the two. If you are giving a learned discussion on the subject of up, be certain that you have considered equally the problem of down. People whose knowledge is limited to only one side of a question are unfitted to pass judgment on any phase of it. This is a rule very frequently broken in nature, for the majority of people who talk with glibness concerning things have totally ignored other viewpoints which may have an important bearing upon the subject. Every element in nature has its opposite, and in most cases the opposite of a thing is the lack of the thing. Light is an element, darkness is the absence of it. Knowledge is an evolved state. Ignorance is the lack of it. Good is a quality. Evil is the least degree of good. As we evolve, we form a triangle out of the opposites by lifting our own center of consciousness above the plane in which lie the 2 points of our horizon. Again, that was the mystery of the number 2 in the book The Sacred Magic of the Qabbalah by Manly P. Hall. I want to thank you for joining with me again today at the Academy of the Magical Art. And until next time, blessed be.